Welcome to Counter Narrative News with the daily news today on the 4th of January 2023. Mozambique's Pedro Comissário has taken up his position on the United Nations Security Council, replacing that one hitherto taken by Kenya. Comissário is arguing for and advocating for addressing the conflict in the north of the country as a result of Daesh incursion and infiltration there, which has resulted in the deaths of 4,000 people. But also Comissário is arguing for Africa to have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. Africa does not have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council, nor does Latin America, and nor does Asia as a region. Arguably, it was under Gaddafi's leadership of the African Union that Africa had its best advocacy strategically of attaining a permanent seat at the Security Council. Ronaldo, Portuguese footballer, has gone to Saudi Arabia to take up his new job, which is a $200 million annual salary with the football team Al-Nassr. In his first press conference, he mistakenly called Saudi Arabia South Africa, much to the laughter of many South Africans. On a more serious note, this is all part of the project of the Saudi Arabian state, which is historically a creation of British colonialism and a close state and Western client state in the region, of attempting to repackage its image away from the more ugly aspects of this oppressive society to one that is more acceptable and westward facing. The fallout from the Ukraine attack on Russian forces, which resulted in over 100 casualties on the Russian side, continues in Russia. Its contribution has resulted in a heightened ultra-nationalist conversation in Russian media and across the population due to the frustrations of its operation in Ukraine. It's very unusual for Europeans and Westerners to have this, what's conducted by Russia, which is very similarly a neocon type of war on terror, quote unquote, military conflict and operation against another European neighbor. Europeans and Westerners are more used to seeing their own leading Western states conduct similar conflicts on countries of the global south, particularly those in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Sierra Leone, more recently. In South Asia, the politics of colonial partition of the subcontinent and also the US and UK wars and occupation of Afghanistan continue to traumatize the region and people. 4 people have been killed in Indian Kashmir, and on the other side of the British partition border in Pakistani Punjab, 2 intelligence officers of the Pakistani state have been killed, and the Pakistani Taliban have claimed that. Also across the border in Afghanistan, the Afghan Taliban continue to be in a joint operation and a joint enterprise with the Pakistani Taliban, the politics of which are made even more confusing and messy as a result of NATO forces and interests leaving Afghanistan recently, and Russia and China trying to muscle in with the Afghan Taliban, resulting in confused comments from those who support Russia and China on the left. On Talk TV, which is a far-right mainstream channel, which indicates how things have shifted, that far-right news channels are now a part of the mainstream, saw TV presenters on one of its shows argue with former General Secretary of the Rail, Maritime and Trade Union, Steve Headley, the former General Secretary. Steve Headley accused the presenters, with some substance, of talking points of neo-fascism. This makes sense, as the channel in general and the presenters specifically argue for bringing in the army to break trade union strikes and support the Tories' moves to try and basically make it impossible for workers to withdraw their labour and take strike action. Many thanks to those who have already subscribed and like and sharing. Please continue to do so, and all the best.